Hi friends, hello. Tonight we're going to have our live with regard to the most interesting recent immigration news. I know it's kind of late, but guess who's not sleeping? Immigration lawyers in the United States, and I guess you guys who are watching immigration lawyers in the United States. I hope all is well. Tonight we're going to be discussing very important news. We're going to talk about the new upcoming travel ban. We will talk about CBP One App, which was repurposed, recycled by new Trump's administration, and now will become the Self-Deportation app instead. We're going to talk about news from USCIS. I will update you with regard to the forms situation, new editions of the forms, and I will update you with regard to the visa bulletin that was published. So thank you very much for watching. Please share, like the show, let me know where you're watching from. My name is Alena Shuatsova. I'm a New York immigration lawyer. I've been practicing immigration law in the United States for 16 years. And using my social media, I regularly hold this live sessions where I answer your guys' questions live and share immigration news and tips. Thank you very much for joining me. If you have not subscribed to my social media, please join, follow on TikTok. Thank you guys for your hearts on TikTok. Sign up on YouTube and let's start. Don't forget to type up your questions. So in the end, I will be able to help you guys out a little bit and will answer your questions. So let's talk about the most important thing. It seems that the Trump's administration is planning new travel ban. If you recall, during the first time Trump took office as a president, he immediately issued travel bans that were litigated in courts. And I cannot say that they were completely unsuccessful. In the end, what happened is that they were modified and eventually lifted by the Biden administration. But this time around, I think Trump's people are going to be prepared better to withstand the challenges in courts. And according to news resources, the bans are being considered to limit the amount of dangerous people who present concerns for national security and safety, prevent them from entering the United States. That's the rationale behind the bans. However, in practice, what it means is that very often people from mostly Muslim countries are not allowed to enter the United States. And the last time around, if you recall, what happened was that Trump said, oh, if you're a national of that country, you just simply cannot enter. But then quickly they realized that certain people have already were issued visas. So those visas would have to be revoked before this ban would take place. Some people from those countries were permanent residents, and you can't prevent a permanent resident from entering the United States. So the ban was modified one more time. And this time around, I think this travel ban mostly will concern, of course, non-immigrant entrants and potential refugees, humanitarian entrants. We're going to see what's going to happen because remember, just an announcement. I just checked the news. I didn't see any specific announcement from the White House with regard to the travel ban. But nevertheless, what you need to know is that potentially, if you're outside of the United States, you may get stuck. Your visa may be revoked. There are already reports that visas being revoked for people from certain countries. And the main thing is this: if you're a student and you're considering traveling, and you're a student from one of the countries I'm going to name right now, please don't go anywhere. This is just not the time for travels. And these are the countries that potentially may be on that travel ban list: Sudan, Venezuela, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, Iran, Libya, Cuba, North Korea, potentially Pakistan and Afghanistan. So these are the countries that may be included in the list for citizens of these countries. People will not be able to enter the United States. Again, I'm not sure if this ban is going to be covering everyone. Maybe there will be some exceptions like we had the last time. If, for example, an organization writes a letter saying that your presence is necessary in the United States, if, for example, you have a humanitarian reason, you will be able to enter the United States. But these are the countries that are being right now mentioned in the media as the countries potentially included in that ban that is being planned by the Trump administration. Lots of unclear questions. We do not know the answers as to what visas will be affected, individuals, what's going to happen. And of course, as always, the first group of people will suffer the most. Usually what happens when there is a change, drastic change like this, is that if you have to travel during this first week or two when the ban is implemented, you will be the person who's going to be affected the most prior to courts being able to catch up with the system, prior to lawsuits being filed. So just keep this in mind. It is best if you have the visa, enter the United States as soon as possible. If you don't have the visa, or let's say you have the visa and you are in the United States, don't travel. All right, don't travel, especially if you are a student, because I feel that it's probably very important for you to finish your studies without dealing with these bans. Because last time around, that's what happened to many students. They lost their visas and were not able to come back to the United States to resume their studies. Some of them never going to come back, and that's a problem. Now, good news is that USCIS, in response to AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association's lawsuit, extended the grace period for the updated forms. You may know that on March 3rd, without any announcement, USCIS published new editions of the forms: adjustment of status, I-131, advanced parole, and they stated only this edition from now on is a valid one that we're going to accept. Of course, that's a problem, because if you mailed your documents prior to this announcement, but the documents are going to reach USCIS once the announcement is made, it means your package potentially may be kicked back. So there was a lawsuit filed by AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association, and in response to that, USCIS quickly corrected their mistake and provided 30 days grace period. Up to April 3rd, 2025, they will be accepting all the edition of the form. And interestingly enough, the form itself was changed pretty recently, last year. So it's like the forms recently were changed so many times. So please watch out when you're submitting something to USCIS, check the edition of the form. You can find it at the bottom of the form that you're printing from uscis.gov website. Edition is going to be printed in this lower left corner. All right, so make sure that you're submitting the right edition. CBP One App, the application that Biden administration created to welcome immigrants to the United States, now is repurposed, recycled to become a self-deportation application. Who is going to use it? I do not know. But the fact is, that's what the government did. Not really sure if anybody is going to be using it. You comment, let me know, would you use it? Probably not, all right? But that's what the administration is doing. They added a button on that application saying that if you want to self-deport, you can by clicking the button and registering for self-deportation. You need to know that registering and leaving the United States on your own without the order of removal is not necessarily a guarantee that you will be able to enter the United States legally, because in addition to, let's say you have, you lost your removal case in court and you have an order of removal, well, you're going to have a ban for 10 years usually in this situation. But in addition to that ban, a person who accumulated unlawful presence time in the United States prior to departing the United States may also face a ban of unlawful presence, 3 to 10 year bar, right? So living on your own does not necessarily guarantee that you will be able to re-enter the United States anytime soon without issues. Just consider this, consult with an attorney prior to making these drastic decisions of packing up your suitcase, selling everything, and leaving the United States. Consult with an attorney to see if maybe you have a chance of actually fixing your status in the United States. And now, finally, we're going to talk about something else I wanted to discuss with you. That's the registration, right? Lots of questions about this registration situation. Do I need to register? Do I not need to register? Listen, as an immigration lawyer, I cannot tell you not to follow the law because that's just wrong. But you have to understand that the information you're going to be entering for this registration is going to be used against you. That's for sure. You have to know. It's a tough situation. The good news is that not everybody has to register. Some people are already registered in the United States. Pretty much everybody who tried to file for anything, pretty much everybody who is in the system already, whether it's a USCIS system or EYR, Immigration Court System. If you enter the United States on a visa, usually you will be registered already. Canadians who entered without inspection because they didn't have to be inspected. Like well, it's kind of like an inspection, but they didn't have the stamps in their passports. Those people have to register. People who entered EWI, what we call entry without inspection, must register. Kids who were younger than 14 years old and did not have to be fingerprinted when their parents were going through a registration period, when they were giving the fingerprints for their visas, and these kids turned 14 in the United States, they will have to register, right? These are the main groups of people. And of course, the Trump's administration states that if you are not registering, you do not register, you're going to suffer crazy consequences ranging from fines to imprisonment. All right, we'll see what's going to happen. And of course, Visa Bulletin. Visa Bulletin was published. Generally speaking, it's improved a little bit, but not by much. EB1 category is current. This is the extraordinary ability workers, self-petitioning mostly. EB1. EB2 advanced like, I believe 3 weeks. EB3 advanced 1 month, if I'm not mistaken. Well, EB4 for religious workers is exhausted. So those are the main things for Visa Bulletin. There is some advancement. I guess it's better than retrogression, but not crazy, something that we would say, oh my God, it became so good. Everybody who is an EB2 national interest waiver may file their cases with USCIS, I-45 forms. No, we're not there yet. It's still, there is a gap between when you submit your I-140, if you're in EB2 category, and when you can file for that green card. Why it's important? Well, it's extremely important for people who may lose their TPS status, because you have to take that gap into consideration if you're planning on staying in the United States legally, in case your TPS status is going to be taken away. All right. So these are the little updates. It took 15 minutes of our time. Now, if you guys have questions, I'll be very happy to answer them. How is everybody doing on TikTok? Thank you guys very much for your gifts and for your hellos. Don't forget to follow. Let's see. Hi, Kashif. Got 2 questions wrong in interview. It's been 13 days. What is the chances? Please reply. Out of how many questions? What was the interview? Usually, if it's a small amount of questions and they were not significant, if we talk about the marriage-based green card interview, Stokes interview, you should be fine. They means USCIS allow for a small percentage of the questions to be not matching, answers not to be not matching. So only 2 questions not gonna completely set you off unless There are very essential ones, like what is the name of your spouse? Believe it or not, some people, for whatever magic reason, cannot correctly answer that question, guys. So just make sure that you're going to know the name of your spouse. It's kind of important. Hi, I am Fresh Kid. Okay. My I-45 asylum-based application is denied. Will I lose my asylum status? Why your I-45 is denied? If the reason is that there was a misrepresentation during your asylum process, you may lose it, but they have to send you a notice revoking it. Okay. So there is a process for that. There's a process for that they have to, follow if they want to take away your status. All right, let's have some questions from YouTube and Facebook. How can I contact you guys? You can contact me very easily by going to my website, Shuatsova.com, my last name.com, and scheduling an appointment, or by calling my office from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday and setting up an appointment. All right. Hi, Holy Holy. Thank you very much. I'm from Afghanistan. Is it safe to travel in advance parole? Do not travel anywhere. Guys, I usually say that it's pretty safe to travel if you have advance parole. But if you are from one of these countries that I just mentioned, right, potentially subject to a ban, please stay put until we know who this ban is going to be concerning of. Only new people, people who are already here, people who have advance parole, don't travel right now. Too risky. You don't want to get stuck God knows where, right? Hi, Neil Akash. I have a question. I have a green card holder. You have a green card? If my wife comes with visitor's visa, can I convert into permanent resident? All right. So if you are just a green card holder and your wife wants to visit you as a permanent resident, chances are she will not be able to adjust status unless and until you become a citizen. It's just the way it works. The gap between you being able to file I-130 petition for her and her being able to file I-45 petition is so big, is that it will cause her to fall out of status, most likely. That's number one. Sometimes it's not, but most likely it will. Number two, immigrant intent. If you already know that your wife wants to convert and receive a green card, immigration may accuse her of fraud at entry, okay? Saying that you have a B1, B2 visa, but you told us that you're going to be just a visitor, but now you're trying to get a green card instead. So you kind of lied to us, and we're not going to give you the green card. Please understand that. It's better to be patient, all right? And do it with the minimum risk for your wife's and yours future. Hi, Dadu. Hi, Vanessa. Should DACA recipients do advance parole during Trump? Yeah, sure. Why not? Unless you're from one of these countries that I mentioned, go for it. I mean, listen, if they give you advance parole, now, most likely you'll be fine. But again, wait for the announcement of the travel ban. Don't go anywhere, all right? You have to be smart. You have to be smart. It's you don't want to lose your future because of a silly mistake. Okay. Hi, VAWA. What is the maximum waiting time for I-130 approval? My answer will disappoint you. There is no maximum wait time. It just doesn't exist. Some people fight for it for years, depending on the circumstances. You can check median processing times at USCIS website. Not average, it's different. Usually, I can give you examples. If you're not in the preference category, I-130 approval takes anywhere from 6 months to 9 months to receive. But if you're in the preference category, first of all, it may take longer, and it's going to take longer until you can use it, I-130, for your purposes, okay? All right, let me see. Hi, guys from TikTok. Hi, flawless authorization, and it says my alien number can be recognized. Please tell me what's happening. Where are you putting this alien number into? And it's not being recognized. I received I-797 revocation notice. Ooh, I'm not sure what was the benefit that was revoked, but you should speak with an attorney as soon as possible, okay? Is there any hope for DACA dreamers? Honestly, I do believe that there is hope for DACA dreamers. Trump himself stated that he is inclined to approve some sort of reform for dreamers. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Hi, Jimmy. Can I file I-130 and I guess I-45 together or separately married to a U.S. citizen while my asylum case is pending? You should be able to file together as long as your spouse entered the United States with a parole or inspection, okay? Hi, SMHI 2020. I'm a citizen and my parents entered the United States without inspection. How they can become legal? That may be very challenging unless perhaps you join military and help them to apply for parole in place. And then they're going to receive that legal entry. Or they can qualify for 245I exception. Just because you're a citizen, when the parents entered the country initially without inspection, you won't be able to help them. So parole in place because you're a military member, or 245I exception usually, okay? Please, can I travel with advanced parole to Africa and come back to the United States? Hi, Haja. Usually, yes. But right now, when they're discussing this travel ban, I would say don't go anywhere, all right? I just said it, don't go anywhere right now. They were supposed to announce it today, but I guess they're busy with Ukraine and everything, so they didn't. All right. Let me see. Thank you very much, Haja. Yes. Right. Hi. I did my fingerprints since January 10th for green card. When can I receive it, please? All right. Did you file I-45? Then there is no guarantee you're going to receive it, okay? Why? Because they have to approve your application first, and it takes some time, and there is no guarantee they will approve it. Hence, we cannot say that you will receive the green card. Typically, it takes about a year for adjustment of status process, but it may take longer depending on the situation, right? Hi, ma'am. Divorce pending, British, married to a U.S. citizen over a year, adjustment of status denied, no refile, abusive spouse, VAWA. Hi, Indy. Let me know what the question is. You're saying you would like to try to go for VAWA? Sure, if you can prove 2 points. To win VAWA, you have to prove, number one, your marriage was real. And number two, during the course of the marriage, you were abused by your spouse. If you have grounds for that, you believe that you can meet these 2 points, then go for it, okay? Hi, Kashif. I was nervous and I said I didn't give her a ring on proposal, but she said yes. Well, listen, with guys can forget stuff. Girls never forget anything, all right? But guys, they can forget the dates of birth of their children, when they got married, where they went for their first date. So hopefully this little mistake is not gonna, turn into something fatal for your case, all right? If a person is out of the country on a green card from June, is it still valid? June of 2024? It's more than 6 months. The green card is valid, but the person is going to probably face some serious trouble right now at the airport. Right now, if you're a green card holder and you spent more than 6 months outside of the United States. When you are entering the United States, you're going to be questioned about that. You potentially may be placed in removal proceedings. Well, first, they're going to pressure you to sign Form I-407, form that confirms that you're giving up your permanent residency. So don't sign that. And if they offered you that form and you didn't sign it, they will place you in removal proceedings and you'll have to fight for your green card in court. All right? It's okay. You can do that. Hopefully, this was a good reason why you had to stay out of the United States for such a long time, right? Hi, I see Lou. How can I get a real ID? Well, you have to qualify for it and go to DMV. Certain groups of immigrants, or aliens, how they call them, may qualify for the real ID if, let's say, they have something pending, they have a temporary status, green card, things like that. Asylum pending qualifies for them. Okay. J1 to H2 is possible if overstayed. No, guys, once you overstay your non-immigrant status, you will not be able to extend or change status in the United States. Not possible. You can file for the visa, and if you overstayed duration of status visa, simply overstayed, you didn't accumulate unlawful presence time. So you're not going to be subject to the unlawful presence bar, 3 or 10 years bar. But the government may deny a non-immigrant visa for you because they may say that you manifested immigrant intent by overstaying your non-immigrant visa for a long time. And there is no waiver for that denial, okay? Let me see, I have a couple questions from YouTube. I hate it. Hate it. Yes, that's the nickname. Just if anyone asks about VAWA, apply September 26, 24. I got prima facie September 27 and biometrics in November. Just got my work permit approved in advance parole. Great. So your case is moving pretty fast. And no, I'm not traveling out of the country. No, don't travel out of the country. You know, typically, if you have advanced parole, it's very safe, all right, to travel out of the country. But right now, not a good time. It's just not a good time. I guess there are orders, you know, issued to the CBP agents, and not a good time, all right? Hi. VAWA, I've heard that Trump said 2-year college degree should get green cards. Is it for everyone? All right, so Trump stated that if you graduated from the universities in the United States, and I don't think he meant associate degrees, you should be able to stay and get a green card rather than going back to your home country. That's what he was talking about. The details are not being revealed, and we do not know what's going to happen, okay? He did mention, I think last week again, that he remembers about that, and his people going to work on the proposal, but we don't have any solid information yet as to for whom it's going to be, who's going to be covered, what the process is going to be, and things like that. Also, honestly, I just don't see how he's going to be able to implement something like this using an executive order. Usually, an act of Congress is required to establish a new category of visas, all right? So maybe they will come up with some kind of a permanent OPT solution. I do not know. You know, optional professional training, because that is established by the regulations, right? So maybe they're going to say like indefinite OPT. I don't know. Maybe something like that. We're going to see. This is just me trying to see how it may work, right? Hi, Tech. My N400 was denied because the officer said I'm already a derivative citizen. What can I do? Hey, listen, if you're already a derivative citizen, you should file for that passport. Difficulty comes when you try to file for the passport and it gets denied, and they say you have to file for your citizenship. So they stated already that you are a citizen. So why don't you submit for the certificate of citizenship rather than naturalization? Because N400 is for naturalization. Certificate of citizenship gives you proof that you are a citizen. I'd say do it while it's hot. Okay, so don't wait, because you wait a little bit, they will forget what they said and they will give you run around and say that you're not a citizen. Trust me, I've seen cases like that. It can be really difficult sometimes to deal with USCIS. And they can lose your file too. All right. Can I apply for H-1B as a student here in the United States? Yeah, many people do that. Absolutely, yes. I mean, if you meet qualifications for H-1B and you have an employer who wants to sponsor. Hi, I have the extension letter. How long more I have to wait for the green card? You file to replace your green card? Is that the situation? Some people wait only a week or two, but some people have to wait for more than 2 years. I do not know how it works. Honestly, have no idea. I just filed I-90 for somebody, and literally within 2 weeks we received a new green card. 2 weeks. It was very, very fast, right? Hi, Hasib. For applying for green card, do we have to wait 1 year after asylum approval or not? No, you do not have to wait the full year in the asylum status to file for the green card. But what happens here is that you have to accumulate that 1 year of physical presence in the United States at the time when USCIS makes a decision on your application. So you sort of have to guess, time it right. I recommend waiting at least for 6 months after you receive your asylum approval before you file for that green card, okay? Because typically it's going to place you in the timeline that you want to be. What documents do I need to carry when I go to the consular interview for my DS-260 in Tanzania? I guess it depends on why you're filing for an immigrant visa. In fact, the instructions for your interview published on the consulate website, they tell you what you need to bring. Usually you have to bring originals of the documents that you submitted to USCIS. If an affidavit of support is involved, you should have that, and originals of the documents that you submitted copies of, okay? Hi, forward. Does unexpected alien qualify for VAWA? Yes, VAWA is one of those rare leaves applications that the person who entered the United States without inspection may file and may receive green card even if after VAWA is approved. Usually, if you enter the United States without inspection, you cannot get a green card. I have a good video about this on my YouTube. It says who can get a green card in the United States. So usually if you don't have legal entry, you will not be able to ever get legal unless you qualify for VAWA, U visa, T visa, special immigrant juvenile status, you get parole in place and later adjustment. I'm sure there are other little exceptions like NACARA, 245I. What else? Cancellation of removal, withholding of removal, of course, asylum, cat. Not that cat, the other cat. Relief on the Convention Against Torture. Horrible, I know. But it's been, it's only Tuesday, but it feels like it's been like, I don't know, like half a year or something. The week just starts and then you open the news and then you feel tired already. Let me know if you can relate. Hi, my wife and children are in the country that Trump has now banned. What country is that? And what status do you have? Remember that there are always exceptions to the bans, otherwise they cannot survive the challenges. So don't panic too early, okay? Don't panic too early. Hi, Hasib. Wait, where did it go? But in asylum approval, it's written that you have to wait 1 year after your approval. Garbage. They never changed the language. Don't worry. All right. Lots of things that you receive from USCIS, unfortunately, are outdated or provide you with the wrong information. I-130 denials used to contain the language that you only can appeal I-130, which is not true. I-130 denial. You also can file a motion to reopen. Sometimes they give you wrong address where to file your notice I-290B. Sometimes they clearly give you wrong information, like in this asylum approval. Policy about waiting for 1 year was changed by the Biden administration. You don't have to wait for 1 year. And if you go to USCIS website, you're actually going to find that. So unfortunately, it's a government notice that you receive, but it's inaccurate. Okay. How long will it take if USCIS citizen child to file for parents who came to the United States legally? Very good question, guys. So the child has to be 21 years old. The child has to have a job or will have to have a joint sponsor. If everything is good, right, the parents can adjust. It's going to take only maybe 8 months to a year for parents to receive that green card. Very important. All right, it's pretty fast. It's not that long at all. Comparing to other reliefs, asylum can take 10 years sometimes in the United States, right? Cancellation of removal takes 8 years. So 8 months is nothing, clearly nothing. Yes, very, very important. Very important to know that. All right, let me see. How much does it cost to go from green card to citizenship? It depends how much money you're making. You may qualify for a special rate in regards to the government filing fee. I think $430, if I'm not mistaken, if your income is beyond a certain poverty line, or it has to be like 700 something full cost of the application. I recommend you not to file for any fee waivers. Do not do that. If you can afford, if you saved up money, don't do that, all right? Asking for the fee waivers, especially with this administration, is going to slow down your process. What can be done until PERM is approved and if TPS is ending soon? It's a tough question. You will have to have a strategy as to how to remain in the United States, at least in some sort of authorization status. You may still have to leave the United States later to get a visa overseas, but you would like to see if you can jump to a different status, depending on how you enter the United States, perhaps. Maybe asylum, maybe change of status, but again, if you had non-immigrant status prior to having TPS, when TPS ends, you revert back to the status that you had under the regulations. It means you can change it or extend it, all right? At least that's what it should mean. But if you didn't, then it's a different story. Most people, the reality is that most people whose TPS is ending will find themselves in a devastating situation, and some of them may file for asylum. Some of them, those who qualify, but not everybody qualifies for asylum, or not everybody is going to have a chance. Okay. Hi, Reina. How long after responding to an RFE before you get a work permit? There's really no timeline for that, guys. That's the problem. We cannot say really that, it's going to take like 2 months. No, usually it takes about 60 days after. But literally, the truth is, as soon as the officer gets to your case, what if they don't? Oh, yeah, there is one more news. USCIS officers are encouraged to become ICE officers as well, which is crazy. Can you imagine if USCIS officers are going to start deporting people physically like ICE, Who is going to be working on your cases? Nobody will be working. So I guess we will never get those decisions. Nothing's ever going to be done. And trust me, I don't think that many officers want to be ICE officers. Red boy, I want to come to America. See, even at times like this, somebody still wants to come to America. Always. Well, now it's a tough time. You will need to have a visa to enter the United States. Hello, does IG request your tax transcripts at the asylum individual hearing? Yes, they may. Some. Interestingly, that taxes are not required to win your asylum, but asylum is a discretionary relief. So some judges, they really pressure you to produce those tax returns. So please file, please file your taxes and have those documents ready just in case. It depends on the judge. So if the judge told you to do that, do it. I very often just recommend people to have those tax returns ready just in case the judge wants to see them. Why not, right? Make sure that you don't have a funny situation when your tax returns show that you live in New York, but your court is in California. That's funny because you have an obligation to update your address when you move, all right? So just keep that in mind. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question tonight. It's kind of late, and we're going to have another session, hopefully, when everything goes well, if everything goes well, on Friday night. So please follow me, join my social media. I do post frequent updates during the day on my social media about various developments. Always do that so that you won't miss anything important. I wish everybody to have a good night, a good day, depending on where you're watching me from, and I hope to see you soon.